is empty and unguided, a blind leading chase. Thought I had a plan with you and me. Was a villain of my own dream, breaking me down to my knees. We could be
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team pick.
holding up our light. We could be fighting for what's right, or we could be falling to pieces. Under the bridge of fire burns, somewhere the pages start to turn, and somebody whispers, I need this. I will do anything just to make you see. Don't apologize for what's in your dreams. Maybe this time we'll
especially when they have a hero like Nature's Prophet.
All right, well, we'll see what Navi's response is going to be in game number 2 as our draft is underway.
There we go.
Furion.
So I think
Quick
this
ban
is
for Navi.
this is a must ban. I don't think they should worry that much about the Tide Hunter. I don't even like. He's it's like a close third, I'd say, almost fourth in the current meta in terms of what strong off-lane heroes there are, and I think Nature's Prophet and Beastmaster are by far the two best ones. So, not surprising that they opt to go for the Nature's Prophet ban rather than the Tidehunter this time around. Secret immediately coming with the Wisp ban again, knowing that it's basically Navi's best card.
I'm interested to see if Secrets find it neat. Okay, they'll actually take out General's Batrider, because the Earth Spirit's obviously still in the pool.
It's an identical ban to last time around. There's no need to change it up because it was successful. So,
Yep.
it's sort of like what Poppy's always done. If it's successful, why change it?
And again, that's really what I want to see Navi be able to pull out is something like the Batrider from that off-lane position, or even from the mid and safe lane position, where you're able to pull out that kind of 20-minute aggression instead of having more of these heroes that are statically farming at that point in time.
Again, it traces back to whether or not the hero pool is deep enough. I haven't seen General play much else than the Batrider and the Faceless Void. Granted, we haven't seen the Navi play as many games as a lot of these other teams because they are basically all major teams except Navi.
First pick Enchantress is an interesting one, though. I mean, I feel like this is a hero that, yeah, maybe just because of art style, but Enchantress first pick does not feel particularly strong to me.
Maybe a few months ago. In the present meta, I completely agree with you. But there is something to be said for sticking to your guns and playing within your comfort zone. We heard Swindlemelons speak about this earlier on the panel as well, how when they played up against EG, for instance, at Shanghai, he said they didn't actually pick something they were too comfortable playing. We saw the same thing with eHome, where they had CGY play a Darkseer that he really didn't seem comfortable. It was like he was playing an entirely different game, right? He was playing League of Legends, everyone was playing Dota 2. And this is probably one of the reasons Navi drafts the way they do. They need something they have practiced, something they're comfortable playing.
And that is why we have Jacob on the desk. A sound bit of analysis that truly only him could pull out.
Traces back to League of Legends.
Windranger
I
at
don't
your
even play the
service.
game. Doombringer, Windranger from Secret.
You want comfort right now.
Yeah, exactly. So the Windranger is just, I mean, they could have gone for Invoker by all means, but I like to see the Windranger as well.
Yeah.
Add some diversity to their picks as well. Probably a smart choice to pick it up right now instead of having it banned out in the second phase the way we saw.
I mean, let's not also forget these may be comfort picks for Team Secret, but those are also two comfort picks that address Enchantress wonderfully. You have Doom being able to disable that Untouchable. You have Windranger who doesn't care about Untouchable.
Yeah. I just love seeing Weehab being put on a hero which he can really excel at, and you can showcase his abilities on. And Windranger is exactly that. That's kind of like why I kind of shed a tear when you see Dandy playing OD or Viper. Well, I agree with you, like his OD really held them in the game before. It doesn't let him dictate the pace of the game. He has to rely on his teammates a little bit too much.
Again, I hate to bring it up too often, but this again traces back to something we talked to both Complexity and MVP about. The lack of practice against top teams. When they suddenly started playing against these top teams at various tournaments, be it Star Ladder, the majors and so forth, they started recognizing how they needed to draft, how they needed to develop the draft throughout tournaments, throughout time, and always be on the forefront of drafting. It seems to me that Navi doesn't have that same experience going up against the top teams right now, so they are sort of lagging behind in the understanding of the meta, and they still pick stuff that only worked a month or two ago.
Yeah.
You see this Enchantress, the Faceless Void, great picks by all means a few months ago, but nowadays these are just not first pick material.
They take away the Pylite Die Lion as well as the Misery Tidehunter. Tidehunter usually a pretty appropriate response to Faceless Void. I feel like I like both of these bans, but
yes, but the trade-off from picking the Windranger is obviously that you're gonna lose the Lion pick. Definitely some good bans coming out from Navi.
you would be taking both your supports in the first one too. We've heard the way that I believe Swindle was talking about trying to go from support core back and forth.
Yeah, and the thing is, I still think Misery plays a decent Beastmaster, so if they even want that, but I don't think they're too worried about Navi banning out offlane heroes, unless they committed full out to it, and they didn't already from the Enigma ban. There's Darkseer as well, something that's been very popular throughout the tournament already.
What other primary cores are really left here for Team Secret? Like, is it worthwhile Team Secret even going into the jungle with, well, any of their heroes? We saw...
They have the
you got a Doombringer, right? So, what's your lane support then?
What happened to OD though? I mean, Team Secret just banned away the Death Prophet and the Gyrocopter. Do you actually value those two heroes, or rather, do you fear those two heroes more in conjunction with a Faceless Void?
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than an OD?
It's the response to the Faceless Void.
Yeah.
Pure and simple.
But OD works just as well with Faceless Void.
It works well. It doesn't have the same kind of range, bar the ultimate obviously, but it's gonna get the ultimate off regardless. For Gyrocopter and Death Prophet, it synergizes even better with the Chronosphere than OD. And OD just comes in a close third, right? Like many other ranged heroes. So I think this is what was probably what they didn't expect, an Invoker pickup. Because there's another hero that, you know, by all means synergizes well with Chronosphere, assuming you don't deafening blast them out of it.
Going to rely on him being Exort in this game too. Like, is it worthwhile him going Quas Wex, or does he have to go into the Quas Exort in this game?
I think it's definitely an Exort game. I wouldn't mind seeing a Quas Wex though. It's always interesting. It sort of opens up the map very early on. Instead of having the traditional farming playstyle where you get the Midas, you just rush that early Orchids and you get the Ghost Walk and you chase around for targets.
But they don't really have targets on the field.
Yeah, they don't really have the lineup to back it up so far. And there's the Beastmaster for Misery.
Yeah, they got such great control, such great laning. And Team Secret doesn't even matter like where they want to go. Like Doombringer starts rotations or does whatever the hell he wants to do. Both Crystal Maiden and Doombringer are fantastic against Enchantress, and the Lycan will be the pickup from Na'Vi.
So, assuming this is an Exort Invoker, you actually have a sort of a concealed push threat coming out from them, where there is, well, Power Shot and Axes are decent against push, but first of all, Axes aren't going to be leveled until very late.
You definitely need a very strong laning phase supports for Na'Vi at this point in time. You can't afford to let this Beastmaster get out of control. That's going to be, I think, right next to the Wind Ranger is your kind of tempo controllers that prevent Na'Vi from being able to reach that push state.
If you ward off the creep camp on his side of things, and he's pretty easy to keep out of the lane then. Like, you already have the Enchantress in the jungle, assuming that he's just staying in his own forest. And then whatever support they pick, as long as it's ranged, they should be able to deal with the Beastmaster, especially if it has any sort of slowdown or disable, which most of them have these days.
The new Lycan Wolves are particularly harassive against some of these offlaners. It might be an appropriate response to the boar harassment.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways they can go with this. A hero that's fallen out of favor is the Witch Dog. I don't think it's particularly good against anything that Secret has. I would probably rather prefer having something with even longer and more reliable disable. Especially up against a hero like the Wind Ranger.
Team Secret, meanwhile, we still need a carry. What is left, though?
There's everything that Wendy likes to play. There's Slark, Spectra, Ember Spirit.
Ember was
I don't think
kind of the one
Ember
that came to mind.
Well, he might bait out a few Chronospheres, which might be cute. Add a lot of momentum.
It's a hero that doesn't particularly, again, care about Enchantress is untouchable, decent against push stance, but instead it's going to be the Slark, Slippery Fish. And instantly, whew.
Casual 10th pick Earth Spirit.
Alright, I'm not sure how that came out. Real quickly, guys, your predictions?
Secret.
It's got to be Secret. Even without the draft, it's got to be Secret.
Alright, Secret is all the way on board. Of course, if you guys want to be able to check out stats, news, anything you possibly need, of course, the Score Esports has it all. Be sure to check out the app on the Google Play Store as well as the iOS Store. Find it all over there. Get into our game number 2 now between Na'Vi and Team Secret, Durka, and Blitz.
Thanks, guys. I cannot wait for this. Game number 2, Na'Vi against Team Secret. And look at what hero Dendi has. The pianist himself on his stick knife Invoker, Blitz. What are you expecting between these two teams?
It's been a really long time since I've seen a Dendi Invoker, in all honesty. And I remember the first time I ever played against Dendi mid, it was his Invoker, and I thought it was the scariest thing in the world. You can ask EGM about the story. I did terribly. I was super nervous about it, and for good reason. When it comes to Invoker, this guy really understands the hero. He knows how he wants to play it. But people have caught up, and most importantly, you know, I don't know how much he's going to be able to do in a lineup that just features a Doom or a Beastmaster, where either one of those abilities are almost always going to be focused on him.
But then speaking of signature heroes, of course, like the panel was saying, Wind Ranger for Wii, this is pretty much one of the heroes that allowed him to make a name for himself. You know, back on Balkan Bears, Wind Ranger, Lina, heroes like that allow him to set the tempo, but mainly it's just about dominating the lane, out-harassing your opponent, and outlast hitting. Make sure that you have that one-up over whoever you're facing against mid. So, let's have a look. Suneko Earth Spirit, again, Milk pointed out, 10th pick. Earth Spirit, something that maybe we didn't really expect, you know, allowed himself all the way through the pool. Why, how did that come about?
I mean, it is super late into the pool, but I think it just kind of fit Navi's lineup. Well, Earth Spirit kind of fits every single lineup. And I just think that Navi just kind of says to themselves, okay, Suneko, can you play it? He's probably like, yeah, I own with it. Everybody owns with their spirit. Kind of just works out.
Ownage hero, ownage players, and the horn will sound. Art style again over on the Enchantress off lane in general Faceless Void. No big changes there, but it's going to be Ditya Lycan heading up the safe lane while Eternal Envy Slark. We love this slippery little devil. Very, very good performance over at the Shanghai Major, not just hero itself, but also Eternal Envy on the hero. While Pilot Crystal Maiden stepping away from the line, of course banned out during the second phase, but Puppy Doom, Weeha on the Wind Ranger, and Misery. Double Boars already blocking up the creep wave, getting that range creep up ahead, but you know, always watch out for the support on the safe lane. Very aggressively poised forwards, just ready to reset equilibrium.
And part of what made the Slark so successful is that it was a hero that could just be everywhere on the map at once, and that's the style that Eternal Envy wants to play. He kind of wants to play that speedster on the map where he can be anywhere, get on top of your supports really easily, and have that comeback potential. That's really important as the Earth Spirit.
The roll into pull.
The roll.
Oh, is that? Oh, yeah, there's the range attack. Suneko pulls it off. That was a sly little move, actually. Gets himself quickly over into that pull camp. While Puppy, what are you up to? Satyr, he's got the blast, but Dendi, this is not the easiest of lanes. He'll get Forge Spirit out. This is where things start to even out a little bit more. You know, you get the basically 1.5 heroes to get your last hits in for you.
Yeah, but the Wind Ranger can do okay. She can just, as soon as she gets the high ground advantage, which is what Wii's focusing on, even more than last inning at this point, it comes down to the deny game just so you can get the high ground advantage, and then Puppy's help can actually mean something, but Puppy's trying to get Wii the advantage mid. Unfortunately for him, not able to do too much, and he might even get the D-ward though, at very least.
Misery's offlane Beastmaster. Looks like he's heading into the Iron Talon. Second minute rune's going to spawn up shortly, and Weeha now has to last hit under the tower. Dendi, he's pushed this lane a little bit further forward with the Forge Spirit, but let's observe Ward. Scouts it all out. Puppy, he pings exactly on the spot, takes it down, and like you said, exactly precise movements from Puppy moving across the map. Level 2 Doom already on the D-Ward mission.
Yeah, and he's going to pick up the bounty rune too, kind of make this affordable for him. Unfortunately for him, he just doesn't want to use the shockwave if he can help it, just because it costs him half his mana just to deal 160 damage. Definitely not worth it for him. Gets a lot more utility out of the Devour, and it's still a good creep to grab though, just because of the 6 HP regen. And he's going to spot Art Style's rotation over here. They've got a lot of different ways to deal with the creeps from the Enchantress as well, picking both the CM and the Doom.
Something Secret have to keep in mind though is that Lycan on the safe lane with the low roll forward, not going to connect onto Wii. And Dendi just throw out a couple of projectiles into the Wind Ranger's face. And Echo though, turned around on by the Wind Ranger. Not going to get anything done. But yeah, the howl from Lycan from the safe lane is definitely something you cannot underestimate, especially when you've got basically 2 roaming heroes between Earth Spirit and Enchantress. They are very dynamic and active early on, and with that howl damage, they can really pile that. pressure on early on.
Yeah, Puppey immediately goes for the Devour onto the Forester, trying to make sure that we gets a decent lane out of this. And Nico's doing the same thing, and not a lot of kill potential on either side of this lane unless something incredible happens, but...
I think they saw our style smoke up. I'm not 100% sure, but they do have a Dar Observer board over towards the jungle where the smoke was used. The Pylai die. Level 3. 2 in the aura.
Just help out the rest of your teammates more than anything. Makes it really easy for the Beastmaster to contest because he can spam out the axes a lot more, which we've seen. Puppey's gonna spot this rotation immediately.
Art style, you're cheeky, but not cheeky enough. Puppey, he's got your number. He's played with you enough times that he knows exactly what you're up to. He's in your head. He's one, if not 2 steps ahead of you. Highlight die. A little Dark Troll gets ensnared and trapped up by the Frostbite, and Puppey, no Devour, so he can't actually snag that one up, but they will kill it off. And General, he does need some help up here. He's level 4, he's getting his experience in. But up against Eternal Envy, this Slark is pretty much just free farming up top.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's getting harassed out quite a bit now, and General is at a pretty equal amount of regen. And this is kind of where you want to strike as the offlaner against the Slark, just because he doesn't have his level 6, he's only got that one Tango to work with, and General can pretty much play in his face if he wants.
Artstyle is being bullied so heavily by just Pylai die. Puppey will come across when the Wild Wing throws out the Tornado, but Artstyle not really accomplishing anything up on this top lane. While, you know, you look at the deficit that this has kind of created with Earth Spirit sitting mid, the Enchantress trying to help out top lane. Actually, they're going onto Puppey, and maybe he's overextended. The Doom slowed out. Maybe a bash from General. That's all they need. They don't even have to get the first blood onto Puppey, and Artstyle will heal up and damage down Eternal Envy. He's got a pounce. He should be fine to escape. General, though, he's hungry for more. Crystal Maiden.
I am quite surprised that Puppey went for that creep, just because he didn't have the 3 armor hero that was getting knocked down. It wasn't even 3 armor, he didn't even have the Tranquil Boots. It was just like a 0 armor hero that had 200 HP and the basic regen from the creep that he ate, but not nearly enough to contest that. And that was just such an easy mop-up kill for Na'Vi.
It did create a little bit of a gap, though, a little bit of a hole in Na'Vi's laning stage, because Misery, getting closer to level 6, was completely dominating Ditya, dropping him very low with the double boars, and now forcing him back out of lane as Puppey.
Oh, he's gonna spot him too. I think he's gonna go for this one. If Ditya decides to move back down, and he's going to his Puppey.
Scorched Earth, Blast.
Got the hit.
There we go. Slows him up, burns through him with the Sato Blast. He's waiting, biting his time, he's looking for the perfect angle, but the stone, the kick from Snako, TP back to the tier 2. And Ditya the Wolves, will he get the perfect block? Puppey, the juke! Ditya through the trees, and they're gonna
make his way all the way up.
Lycan, how is he doing this? It's not gonna be enough, though. Maybe to get the counter kill onto Puppey, but Ditya is gonna continue going through the trees. Power shot from Wei finally secures the kill, and that's a heart-in-mouth moment for Secret, just being run ragged around.
Yeah, meanwhile at top as well, they lose the Faceless Void, and Artstyle goes for the dive. Eternal Envy barely makes it out, doesn't commit the creep bird, and Eternal Envy has no mana or HP to speak of, but is going to be able to get the kill and get out. And that's got to be a heartbreaker so far for Na'Vi. They lose 2 heroes across the map. The Lycan works so hard for that. Unable to survive though, and Puppey picks up a decent amount of XP.
And Dendi was close to securing the kill on Slark with a Sunstrike, but barely missed the mark on that one. Now, he's got his phase boots up soon. Dendi, what are you looking for? The Hand of Midas, so 1,000 gold in the bank with the Gloves of Haste already picked up. Deny out the Invis rune. He's not going to use it, just doesn't want Wii to go and refill his bottle. So he'll destroy any chances they had of using that one. But take a look at who's up at top. Artstyle needs a new creep, waits for the camp to respawn, and with that Centaur Conqueror, does he try and kill off the Slark? Because it's not the easiest of takedowns.
Yeah, it's really not.
Oh, especially when he jumps on the General. He's going to keep going with the Essence Shift, stacking up General. 5 seconds till the jump again. Eternal Envy just kind of wants to force him out of lane, though. Because, of course, he can dip back into the shadows and heal himself up. Well, oh, hello. Puppey and Misery pair up to kill off the Lycan.
Yeah, they commit the Doom, or the Roar for it, but more worth it is they're going to get a lot of control in this bottom tower area, and because the Lycan is rotated, he's going to have to go to the jungle eventually, and Ditya tries to make the attempt mid, but pretty low percentage gain.
And Seneko is millimeters away from landing the roll, but Like you said, Artstyle and Dendi, even if they were in the vicinity, it's still difficult to reposition and move yourselves up that ramp when there's Pilot Eyes Crystal Maiden ready and waiting for the save onto Wii.
Yeah, and surprisingly enough, Rod immediately comes back down here, but nobody TP's down or anything to help him out, as Navi, power does get denied, but Secret, they're just gonna move out.
They're looking for Dendi in mid though. Paladine at the shackle back under the trees and the focus fire. Weeha! Damage output's good, but not good enough just yet with Seneko.
Oh, he's still
Hang on,
going.
Dendi came back around, salves up, but cancelled out. And
He's gonna
wait,
get power shotted. He just immediately starts running back to base. He hit the Midas. I probably would have just gone to the camp, but because the courier's in use by General, he's gonna be unable to do so. And Basis Wood is still really strong against this arc. The time dilation does destroy him, but don't really have the best ways to kill him early on. They don't have a lot of things that can permeate through that. The exception of the Enchantress, of course, but
this
she's not really in position to help out.
art style, that's so mean. Somebody call the RSPCA, these boars, they're in trouble. Art style doesn't want to let them live. Doesn't even want to steal them, just wants to destroy. Kill them off. So, Eternal Envy.
Have a good chunk of XP. They're level 5. It's a good move.
That's true.
I'm surprised that Misery's not denying him more.
What kind of itemization do we expect from Eternal Envy here? Blink, Shadow Blade?
I know he almost exclusively prefers Shadow Blades in games like this, and I think against the Lycan it's a little bit iffy, but I still think it's pretty good. It just depends on if you think you can play. I guess the Earth Spirit's really poor. I think you can get away with it.
No greedy Midas, just go straight into the mobility. Oh, Misery. They know the smoke has popped. Wolves, they'll scout it out, but Didgeridoo already into that. Nice little shapeshift. Wolf form is up. And Secret. A little bit off on the timing there, but great play by Didgeridoo. Again, utilizing this tree line, utilizing the